Why, hello there, I'm Professor Joel, and welcome to another episode of Planet Scooby Reviews. Today we are covering Never Ape and Ape Man, but before I get to that, I just wanted to do this Blu-ray set DVD. This came out last year. I finally picked it up because it was rather expensive, and it came down in price. I ordered it on September 30th, 2020. It arrived on October 1st, 2020, and pros and cons. So the big con, I wanted the downloadable content. I wanted to use clips from the high def versions for my clips when I do my reviews. Unfortunately, that expired on September 30th, 2020, the day I ordered. That was the last day you could get it. So when I got it October 1st, I no longer had access to the downloads. Oh well, live and learn, right? Other than that, the packaging's really cool. You get this nice little haunted house. You get the little Funko Pop of Scooby in the mirror there, or in the window. Some really cool packaging overall. Some interesting graphics. Here's the back. Really spooky. I love it. I love it. Very high quality. This is cardboard, not plastic. Maybe a hybrid of both, but yeah, very cool. Very well done packaging. The top comes off, and that's where the contents are. It also came packaged in this kind of package here. This is kind of junky. I could see a lot of the kids destroying this, unfortunately. This is garbage. Not that great. Not that great compared to the interior of it. And then the set comes on 4 Blu-rays. So it just comes in like a cardboard CD package. And you get all the extras and DVDs or Blu-rays in here. So 4 discs. I was a little disappointed they weren't colored like the DVD set in the Mystery Machine. These are kind of just simple outlines. Maybe that's a Blu-ray thing, but I kind of missed the lack of color. And that's kind of something you want for a cartoon series, I believe. And here's a list of all the episodes. Lots of good stuff on here. It's seasons 1, 2, and 3 of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You series. You also get this mini encyclopedia of Scooby-Doo. This is good. This is serviceable, but it's really stripped down. I don't want to bash it because I know you can only package so much in here. There's only so much room. But unfortunately, this is only about 10%, maybe 5% of the real encyclopedia. This encyclopedia here isn't that expensive. It's about 16 bucks. I'd recommend you get this. This has a list of all the villains and such from the Scooby-Doo series. This is excellent. This version of it is excellent. The mini version just pretty much covers the gang bios along with some of the 13 ghost characters and Dynamite characters and other people they've teamed up with. So it's very, very small. I was a little disappointed in that. I thought they could have maybe put a little extra effort into that because, you know, there is some room inside the packaging to put a little more, I find, but yeah, what can you do? And then yeah, you get this little Scooby-Doo Funko Pop. It's going to be reflective a little. So despite me not having the downloadable content and despite the encyclopedia, which I wasn't too mad about because I have the big encyclopedia, which I highly, highly recommend. And despite the cheap kind of exterior, I'm a collector. I kind of want high quality. I paid a lot of money. I don't think it's worth the money I kind of paid for it, other than the content itself. But despite all that, I still recommend it. I just wouldn't pay a lot for it. This is the limited version of it. I think it's limited to 50,000 copies, so there's plenty of copies floating around. It won't be out of print soon, but it'll probably be out of print eventually, and then they'll go to probably just a version where you get the discs like they did with the Batman animated series. You could get like a deluxe version, which is out of print, or you could get the ones with the disc. If I did it all over again, I might have waited for the discs, or I might have ordered this earlier so I would have had the actual downloads. But live and learn. I'm happy with my purchase. Let's get to the review of Never Ape and Ape Man now. So Never Ape and Ape Man is episode 7 of the first season of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? It originally aired on October 25th, 1969, and this episode sees the gang visiting Daphne's Uncle John Maxwell, who is a movie director. The gang are acting as extras on the set, and they are extras because the locals who normally work on the movie sets were scared away by a sabotaging ape man. I can see why this episode was made, as apes were all the rage in the late 60s and 70s. Planet of the Apes was huge. People often say Star Wars was like the first big blockbuster franchise, but I disagree. Planet of the Apes was a hit for several years. People were just crazy about Planet of the Apes. You could get lunchboxes, and you could get board games, and you could get Halloween costumes, and you could get toys and dolls and all sorts of Planet of the Apes merchandising. And they had tons of sequels, and they had like a television show series, and they had a cartoon for Saturday morning cartoons in the 70s. So it was pretty big. And I think this episode kind of capitalizes on the Planet of the Apes hype. Planet of the Apes came out in 1968, the original movie, and this episode came out in 1969. So I think they're kind of going off that kind of hype. Gorillas and stuff were also popular with television too. You had, I think, Bigfoot on the $6 Million Man, and you had an ape or something on Wonder Woman. And apes just kind of appeared all the time. Apes were kind of big. But unlike Planet of the Apes, the ape man in this episode does not talk. It's just an ape. It's a big gorilla. And it's not a cross between an actual ape and a man, like I thought it might have been when I was a kid. It's just a big gorilla. This episode has a few firsts, with Scooby showing a bit of courage in one or two scenes where he kind of barks at the ape man. And Shaggy also claims in one scene that he isn't afraid, which is totally weird, threw me off. But this is an early episode, and maybe it's just ghosts that scare our dynamic cowardly duo and not animals. Who knows? Also, this is the second episode not to feature the Mystery Machine. The first one was Hassle in the Castle, where the gang were marooned on a haunted island. And finally, the villain is not unmasked in this one. We only find out who the villain is afterwards, when we see him revealed in a photograph. Anyway, enough of my jibber jabber. Let's get to the review. The episode begins with the gang on a movie set for The Ape Man of Forbidden Mountain. Here, Daphne's Uncle John Maxwell is directing the production. Unfortunately, all of his local staff, except for his stuntman ape actor Carl and leading actress Candy Mint, have quit. The locals are all afraid of the movie set due to a superstition of a real ape man burning down a mansion that the movie set is built upon. Thus, Scooby and the gang are acting as extras.
Wonderful, Uncle John. The Ape Man of Forbidden Mountain.
It sure was swell of you to give us jobs as extras. I need you because the local people won't work in this film. They believe an old legend about a real ape man. We've had 3 reports that the ape man has been seen up here at night.
It's only a superstition.
The only ape man on this mountain is my stuntman, Carl. And you'll see Carl in the ape man suit.
In the past few weeks, Uncle John claims they have had 3 reports of the ape man appearing at night. During the filming of a pivotal scene on a rope bridge, the real ape man appears and puts Candy in a dangerous situation.
Right, Mr. Maxwell.
That's our star, Candy Mint.
Scooby rushes in to save her, but despite Scooby scaring the ape man off, Candy quits the production.
But I quit until that beast is caught.
Uncle John thanks Scooby for his bravery, and the gang searches Carl's trailer for the missing stuntman.
That was a daring rescue, Scooby. Find my missing stuntman, Carl.
Maybe we can pick up a clue to where Carl might be.
I didn't put much stock in that ape man legend until now.
Inside, Scooby finds the ape man's mask, which Uncle John says is just part of his regular costume. They also find Carl locked in a wooden chest.
What happened?
Hey, what happened?
I came in to dress, and a big hairy animal grabbed me and threw me in the trunk.
Carl is inside the chest with his full costume on and tells the gang he came in to get ready for his scene, but a big hairy animal threw him in a trunk. Carl then quits the production as well, at least until the ape man is caught. Freddy and the gang volunteer to guard the set to help catch the ape man, and even the normally cowardly Shaggy seems ambitious to help.
Yeah, who's afraid of a big bad ape?
The gang set up shop in Starbright Films' mansion set. Velma explains that the ape man lives somewhere nearby in a cave that's hidden in some rocks. Freddy also informs the gang that the mansion set they are in was built upon the grounds of an old mansion that had burned down.
According to the legend, the ape man lives in a secret cave somewhere somewhere in the rocks.
Did you know that this set is built on the ruins of the original old mansion?
Looking for clues, Scooby finds a half-eaten floor hamburger on the ground. Shaggy dives in to eat it, but Freddy puts a stop to that as it's a clue. Velma inspects it and sees claw marks. And Daphne finds this unusual, as apes do not eat meat.
Somebody left half a hamburger.
Wait! That's a clue!
See those claw marks? The ape man was eating this sandwich. That's odd. Apes don't eat meat.
Freddy then tells Shaggy he can now eat the burger, but Shaggy is disgusted that an ape man had his dirty paws on it.
It's okay, Shaggy. You can eat it.
Me eat after an ape? I can't do it.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
Let's split up and search for this ape man who eats hamburgers.
So Scooby gulps it up instead. The gang then split up to search for the ape man, but before they head off, Freddy reminds everyone that the set was built to film a scary movie. Daphne pipes in and explains that they are bound to come across some trap doors.
This set was built to make a scary movie.
So watch out for trapdoors.
Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma head off and come across a parrot who frightens them when it yells out, "Stick 'em up." What's the password?
It's kind of spooky in here.
Stick 'em up! What's the password? Stick 'em up! What's the password? Stick 'em up! What's the password?
That's what I call foul play.
The trio don't have much time to react as the statuesque like ape man on a rolling platform hurtles towards Shaggy and tackles him down a staircase. In a fit of panic, Shaggy tears the ape man apart only to realize that it is a stuffed dummy. The gang regroup in the Mansion Museum and Freddy comes across a copy of the film's shooting script. The script was left open to the scene that they were shooting that very day. Daphne searches the shelves for additional clues and triggers a trapdoor that sends Freddy falling backwards in his chair.
There isn't anything in here but old books.
It's a copy of the film shooting script. Someone left it open to the scene they were shooting today.
Maybe there's a clue up here on these shelves.
Meanwhile, Scooby has a close encounter with the ape man who plays peekaboo with Scooby behind a pretend mirror. Scooby growls at the ape man and attempts to capture him, but Daphne triggers a switch that causes the stairs on the staircase to turn into a sliding staircase, which sends Scooby back down to the rest of the gang, minus Fred. Daphne pushes another button on the wall of switches, which opens up a passage that Freddy emerges out of. In his travels, Freddy announces that he has found the perfect trap for the ape man. Freddy brings the gang to the set of the film's final scene. In that scene, the ape man is to be captured with a net that hangs from the ceiling. All they have to do is lure the ape man into the said net and voila, captured. Velma bribes Scooby with 5 Scooby snacks and Daphne bribes Shaggy with a Shaggy snack, which is a pot pie loaded with cherries, anchovies, pepperoni, and a thick chocolate sauce.
Would you do it for a Shaggy snack? It's a pot pie with pizza crust, anchovies, pepperoni, cherries, and all in a thick chocolate sauce.
It doesn't take long for Shaggy and Scooby to run into the ape man, but the trap fails, and Shaggy ends up in the net instead of the ape man. While the gang discuss their options, Scooby finds a tuft of fur in a wine cask. Freddy opens the wine cask up and they find another secret passage, which is a tunnel that leads into the mountain. The gang explore the tunnel and come to an opening that brings them to the dressing rooms for the movie cast. Freddy instructs everyone to get searching and they split up to cover more ground. Scooby and Shaggy swiftly come across the ape man, who ends up chasing the entire gang back into the mansion. With some quick thinking, Freddy traps the ape man by triggering the sliding staircase. The ape man is never unmasked, but during the final chase, Shaggy had captured a Polaroid-like snapshot of the man behind the mask. Revealing the photograph, we see that it is Carl, the stuntman, who is the ape man.
Take a look at our ape man.
It's Carl, the stuntman!
Carl decided to sabotage the picture just because I wouldn't let him play the lead.
It sure was clever of him to lock himself in that trunk yesterday.
Talking with their Uncle John, it's figured out that Carl decided to sabotage the picture as Uncle John wouldn't let him play the lead. Freddy thought it was rather clever that Carl locked himself in a chest to throw any suspicion off of him. And with that, another mystery is solved. So I give this episode a 7 out of 10. For me, this was a 6 until we got the scene with the floor hamburger. That scene just cracked me up. That was just so much fun and it was just funny. I don't even know why I never remembered that. That was kind of a surprise to me. I'd seen this episode a few times in the past, but it had been a couple decades. And then I saw that scene. I just thought, this is so funny. The Ape Man design was cool, but not really memorable. I don't think we'll ever see like a Funko Pop or Ape Man toy in the future of the Ape Man. Who knows? I could be a liar. There might be one or two out there already that I'm just not aware of. Scooby and Shaggy showing acts of bravery was a bit weird, especially with Shaggy ripping the Ape Man statue apart. Like, who knew this skinny guy had such brute strength? I was also disappointed that there wasn't an unmasking. I know this was an early episode and they didn't have the formula just down pat yet, but it was a little disappointing. Regardless, Never Ape and Ape Man is a perfectly watchable episode with some interesting set pieces and a few funny moments. I like how this took place on a movie set, so you got the Ape Man scenes like in the jungle, cliff area that were kind of good, and then you got like the old mansion and the rumor about the mansion being on top of a burnt mansion, which an Ape Man sabotaged before. That was kind of cool. It's just that the villain's kind of bland, even though the peekaboo scene with Scooby was kind of fun, but in and of itself, the design of the villain and his characteristics were just kind of not that memorable. Anyway, that wraps up another mystery. Until next week when we will be covering Foul Play in Funland, stay spooky.
Let's split up and search for this ape man who eats hamburgers.